In the front portico, there was this creature, this odd-looking thing that appeared to have fangs.
I looked down the hall and saw a child, and I immediately noticed that the child didn't have feet or hands or a face, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't really do anything. My ghost story began when my husband and I bought the Allen house in Monticello, Arkansas. We moved from Oklahoma to Monticello because my husband, Mark, was taking a job at the university. The night that we arrived in Monticello, Mark, our two sons, and I were driving around.
We were admiring some old historical homes, and then we got to the Allen house. We stopped the car because we're in such awe of it.
What made me want the house so much was it was beautiful. It was my childhood dream home. Despite the fact that the house was in such disrepair, I felt an instinct, a pull from the house, like it needed us to take care of it.
The house was indeed rather creepy, and it was pretty run down. Still, I thought it was a beautiful house that was in need of help.
Word got around town, and the homeowner called me and said, "So, I hear you like my house." And I said, "Yes, I love your house." So I was invited to come over and spend time in the yard. One day I went over there and took several pictures of the front of the house. When I got home and put the pictures on my computer and looked at them, you could clearly see a white spot on one of the windows.
In the front portico, there was this creature, this odd-looking thing.
The picture unnerved me because it didn't look like a person. It was just really eerie and freaky. Even though we had seen things that were disturbing, the house held an attraction. Not really something I can explain, just a feeling that we needed to be there. About a week after we bought the house, I was in the dining room, and I happened to notice our son Jacob just walked right past me down the hallway. And I said, "Jacob, where are you going?" And he didn't say anything, he just kept walking, so I started to follow him. When he got to the kitchen, he wasn't there anymore. So I start walking around the entire house, and I finally get to the toy room. Jacob and Joshua are sitting there playing video games. So I asked Jacob why he ignored me, and he said, "Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been sitting here playing video games for like an hour." The spirit was posing as Jacob. You would call that a doppelganger, and that's some sort of an entity that takes on the form of a living person that's familiar to you, that lives in the house. It was scary.
One of the first artifacts that I discovered was a tombstone in the wall of the carriage house for a child born in 1895 and who died in 1900. Carriage house is essentially somebody's home, so I think it's rather odd to find a tombstone in the wall. Who that child was is still a mystery. The tombstone has a name on it, but it's not Allen. Rebecca and I started doing historical research, and that's when I discovered that it had this paranormal past. The Allen house was built in 1906 by Jolie Allen and his wife, Caddy, had 3 daughters, Lonnie, Liddell, and Louie.
Liddell Allen Bonner is the most famous ghost of the Allen house. She had a series of, I guess, loves in her life that didn't pan out in her elderly years. She was very sad. Christmas night of 1948, there was a big Allen family Christmas party, and Liddell had gone downstairs, made herself a plate of hors d'oeuvres. Liddell
went up to the master bedroom suite and consumed mercury cyanide tablets. It was very shocking. Liddell was a prominent citizen, a well-loved citizen. The paranormal activity in the house has always been connected with Liddell.
The room that Liddell consumed the mercury cyanide in is the room that Mark and I sleep in every night. We cohabitate in that room with her.
The reason for her suicide was a mystery for over 60 years. Until one Saturday morning, August 2009, I woke up and felt compelled to go to the attic. What was really odd was I knew exactly where to go. I walked right over to a small opening in the floor, and I found what looked like a brown piece of paper. It turned out they were letters.
We had searched those areas in the attic numerous times and never found anything, so it was an odd occurrence that he went up there and by himself found them.
When I started reading the letters, I very quickly realized that these were love letters from a man who was in love with Liddell, whom she was in love with. Liddell committed suicide because of a failed love affair with a married man.
I think that Liddell wanted Mark to find the letters, and I think she wanted him to tell her story because he's a writer.
Liddell's mother, Caddy, sealed the master bedroom suite, and it remained sealed for 37 years because she realized that Liddell's spirit was still there. After we'd been in the house for about a year, we decided to allow some friends to do a paranormal investigation, and they captured a spinning, twirling object rising from the floor toward the ceiling and past the camera.
The video was taken in the master bedroom, which is the room that Liddell consumed the cyanide. I think that any form of energy would have to be attributed to Liddell in some way because she very clearly dominates that room.
I was finally convinced that the house was indeed haunted, that all those stories that people had told for 60 years were true. We were living with spirits.
One night, I decided to go get a drink, went downstairs to the kitchen, and came back up the maid's staircase. Once I got to the top, I looked down the hall and saw a child. It looked like a real child standing there, just missing pieces of itself. The child didn't have feet or hands or a face. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't really do anything. And I felt very scared myself because I couldn't control what was going on. After 5 or 6 seconds, the child was gone.
It was really terrifying seeing Rebecca struggling to breathe and gagging. And it took several minutes for her to catch her breath. And then she told me what had happened.
This child had somehow drawn enough energy to present itself to me so that I could see it. It was just a very strange, unnerving moment in the house.
I believe the apparition that Rebecca saw that night is associated with the child's tombstone that I discovered in the wall of the carriage house.
I do think that after seeing the child spirit, that there is no doubt of the presence of ghosts in the house, especially for me. We stay in the house because we love it. There's still a pull, a feeling of needing to be there.
It's creepy sometimes to live in the house. There are occasions when I don't feel particularly comfortable being alone in the house, but this house needed somebody to make it beautiful again, the way it had been 100 years before. I think in our case, the house chose us and that the house needs us, and we're happy to serve it.